Hey guys, Angie B here with today's vlog, and today I'm going to be talking about the show that got me into fandom. This is kind of momentous, right? This is the show, this is the fandom that turned me into the raging fangirl you all know and love today. Sailor Moon. If you grew up in the 90s and you were a girl, you had to have at least been aware of Sailor Moon. If you didn't watch it, you at least knew about it. Because chances are all of your friends were playing with the dolls or had lunchboxes with Sailor Moon or used to watch the show or had comics or what have you. At least that's what it seems like to me, because Sailor Moon was a huge part of my formative years. When I was like 12, 13 years old, I started watching Sailor Moon because it was on Toonami. Back when Toonami was the shit. Back when it was like quality, primo Japanese animation and American cartoons. And Sailor Moon was the first show that I got so passionate about I had to go out and get merchandise. I had to read all the original comics. I had to actually own the dolls. I had the soundtrack. I collected the comics. Now, not even just the graphic novels. I went out and I bought the actual comics. The comics that were like $3 a pop or something. Yeah, $3 a pop. I had all these comics, man. I still have almost all of them. Sailor Moon is the shit, okay? If you don't know about Sailor Moon at all, it's a Japanese manga and anime that was just... it was a landmark piece of Japanese animation and comics because it was great. It's about these pretty sailors, or pretty senshi, who used to fight evil creatures and people and had superpowers, and they were each from a different planet, and they had been reincarnated into Earth girls, but they still had the powers that they had once upon a time when they used to live on the different planets, and they were princesses of the different planets. And Sailor Moon was just awesome, and I wanted to be Sailor Mars. I wanted to be Rei Hino, something awful. Sailor Mars, right there in the red, by far my favorite character. She was so badass, and I felt like I really was Rei when I was growing up. Rei was brunette, okay? Technically she had kind of purpley hair, but she was a brunette. Her favorite color was red. She was born in April. She was an Aries, just like me. She was into archery, which, holy crap, I still to this day am desperate to learn archery and have a bow and arrow. Her powers were fire themed, which I always thought was the most badass superpower you could have, like fire themed, you know, arrows and waves of fire and stuff. She was also the prettiest in my opinion, and she lived at a Shinto shrine with her grandpa, where she was a priestess, and she had 2 crows as pets / familiars, named Phobos and Deimos, after the 2 moons of Mars. And holy crap, Rei Hino, you could not get more awesome than Rei Hino. Really, seriously, you couldn't. I loved her so much. I wanted to be her so badly. And it still kills me that to this day I don't have a Rei action figure. I've got Serena Usagi. I've got her. I've got Lita Minako, Sailor Jupiter. I have even Mina Minako, Sailor Venus. I even have her. And it kills me that I've got those 3 and I still don't have Rei, because she was my favorite by far. What did I love about Sailor Moon? What was it that pulled me in? Well, you had pretty teenage girls who had superpowers and kicked ass. And, I mean, that's obvious what pulled me in. But then you had the awesome, epic, doomed love story of Serena and Darien. Darien, who was the Prince of Earth. And, of course, Serena being Sailor Moon, the, you know, lead character or whatever. And I have to admit, I was never really fond of Serena. I don't know. I mean, she was the lead character, and for the most part, I usually don't like the, main characters, like the lead hero or heroine, as much as the supporting characters. But I loved her and Darien together. Tuxedo Mask because, of course, Darien was reincarnated, same as all of the others, and Darien had superpowers, and he was Tuxedo Mask. And yes, Tuxedo Mask was kind of ridiculous, because he wore a ridiculous mask that didn't do anything to hide his true identity. And he threw roses. That was his main attack, was throwing roses at people. Yeah, I know, it's ridiculous. Even when I was a fan, you know, when I was 12, 13, and I was watching the show, even then I knew this is ridiculous. But it was still Darien, and he was still hot, and he was the older guy that had a motorcycle and lived on his own, and I loved the romance between him and Serena, and I just loved how twisted and crazy and ridiculous the family shenanigans got when Chibausa, aka Rini, who is Darien and Serena's daughter from the future, when she came back to meet her parents and to help save the day and stuff, Rini always bothered me, okay? I just never liked her very much. I kind of equate her with Scrappy-Doo from, you know, when they brought back Scooby-Doo and they tried to keep the show going with Scrappy-Doo added in for an extra dynamic of annoying. I never really liked Rini. But I just thought it was great when she shows up, and then Serena and Darien realize that she's their daughter from the future, and it's like, holy crap. And Rini had this weird sort of Oedipus complex going on with Darien. She was jealous of her mother for being with her dad, and it was crazy and ridiculous, but whatever. I love Sailor Moon because there was so much, like, mythology and weird characters and people that changed into animals, and there was a circus-themed season with all of these evil people that were from a different planet, and they had like this dark circus, so there was all this carnival shit going on. Oh man, it's been so long since I watched any of the show or I read the manga. I really need to go back and like refresh, because I feel like I'm missing an opportunity to flail here properly, because I don't remember as much of the show as I used to. But Sailor Moon, man, it was awesome. It was the first thing that I was, like, extremely seriously passionate about. I got so head over heels with Sailor Moon. I still have, to this day, a Sailor Uranus piggy bank. I've got, you know, Sailor Moon pens and cards and all this shit. I still have it to this day. I can't get rid of it because it's Sailor Moon, and it was my first fandom. And from Sailor Moon, I got into Gundam Wing. From Gundam Wing, I got into Cardcaptor Sakura. From Cardcaptor Sakura, I got into basically every other Japanese anime, and then Japanese anime led me to Fandom Online, fanfiction.net, then I got into Dark Angel, Lord of the Rings. It's just snowballed since then, man. I mean, Sailor Moon really opened the door to the potential for obsession and flailing and fanfiction and communities and discussion boards and all that stuff. I loved Sailor Moon, man. I still love Sailor Moon. I still wish that I was Rei Hino and that I could still shoot arrows of fire at, you know, bad guys while wearing heels. Oh my gosh, that show. So crazy. And I loved the dynamics between the characters. I loved how all of the Sailor Scouts were, like, totally committed to each other, and all of the inner scouts were constantly sacrificing themselves for Serena, and then you get the outer scouts show up, and then you've got the lesbian storyline between Neptune and Uranus, and to this day it pisses me off that the Funimation Deke dubbing of the show that I got to actually watch on TV, where they changed Neptune and Uranus's relationship to, they were cousins. Yeah, because cousins like to hold hands and kiss and have, you know, long, meaningful conversations staring into each other's eyes all the time. That makes perfect sense. I wish that I could go back and find the series with subtitles rather than dubbing, because I bet it would definitely put a whole new layer to it that I've never been aware of, because me, you know, having only access to the dubbings, I feel like I can't really call myself a true fangirl because I haven't really experienced the entire show unedited, unhacked to bits. And I have to admit, some of the voice actors in the English dubbing, they were kind of just bleh. But, man, Sailor Moon, that's a blast from the past, man. I can still to this day remember going to my dad's office to use the computer and printing off black and white sheets of all the, you know, the full color cover drawings and stuff, and then taking them home and coloring them in myself with colored pencil, and then putting them in this big notebook that I'm sure I still have somewhere around here. Man, talk about a blast from the past, really. Anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed this vlog. I know I've been kind of rambly and not exactly clear and coherent today, but whatevs. To all my fellow Sailor Senshi fans out there, keep on keeping on, and be awesome, stay pretty. Check you guys later.